Subscribe Sonic Freeriders. Here's one quick tidbit. Go watch Angry Joe's review of this fucking game and you'll understand why Sonic Freeriders is probably one of the worst Sonic games of all time. Spin-off or not, it's terrible. Like, the whole gameplay style, you know, you basically are using body movement. It's odd, it's kind of weird, but, you know, it's just like, let's just say you're gonna get motion sickness after 15 or 30 minutes. This game could literally make you sick, figuratively and literally. I'm not kidding. Like, I'm gonna, you know, post a link in the description on Angry Joe's review of this game. He demonstrated the game and everything. He said this game was so bad, he literally returned it at GameStop and got a different game. Like, seriously, like, this game is just bad. So, you know, I only played this game maybe once, like, maybe 7-8 years ago. But other than that, if you want to find out more about this game, just go watch Angry Joe's review. That's all you gotta know. Let's move on. Number 11, Sonic Adventure 2. Okay, now SA2 is a lot of people's favorite game, mostly because of Shadow. I mean, this is where he made his debut, and a lot of diehard Shadow fans, you know, are gonna agree, and I do agree. You know, for the most part, you know, Adventure 2's gameplay, you know, it's a safe gameplay. You know, Sonic and Shadow play exactly the same. You know, they have speed stages. Only Shadow has 4, unfortunately. Wish he could have had more, but whatever. You know, Rouge and Knuckles have treasure hunting stages, and Eggman and Tails have mech shooting levels. The mech shooting levels are a lot more fun with Eggman. For Tails, he has a miserable time in Eternal Engine. The multiplayer is actually pretty fun. It's actually the best multiplayer out of any Sonic game when you think about it. Unless you're using Amy Rose, because that'll make you very cheap if you're using Amy, because she's really broken in the multiplayer functionality. Other than that, you know, Adventure 2's story is really dark. You know, like, seriously, like, Eggman blew up the fucking moon. Like, how much more darker can you get from that? How do you go from someone like that to where we're at, you know, currently? You know, it's kind of odd, you know, like, that's the last time Eggman was badass. And another thing, attention to detail, Sega, 7 Chaos Emeralds, you know, allow you to control the Eclipse Cannon, and yet 2 allow you to time travel. What kind of logic is that? Like I said, logic gaps. Other than that, you know, Adventure 2's story is great. You know, Shadow's looking for vengeance, and then, you know, he decides to change his mind at the 11th hour, does the right thing, him and Sonic, you know, take care of things, and then that's how they write him off the series. But thanks to being popular, Sega brought Shadow back with no explanation whatsoever in Sonic Heroes, and that's why Shadow the Hedgehog exists, to give you the full story on Shadow's backstory, his origins, and the events, and why he had amnesia. Alright, but let's move on. Number 10, Sonic Rush. Okay, now we're getting to the top 10. Now things are getting cooking. Yeah, Sonic Rush, obviously one of the, I believe this was one of the first early Nintendo DS games to show off the 3D capabilities of the system, and it works. My God, it works. Sonic Rush, you know, it's a really fun game. You know, it introduced the boost mechanic. Yeah, in a handheld game, you know, you have the boost mechanic, which is a fun concept, which is in the mainstream games after it was absent from Sonic Lost World. Yeah, the boost mechanic can be fun here and there, but the problem with the boost mechanic is you're making levels a lot shorter. You know, that's the main reason why Sonic Colors is very short, you know, because the boost makes you beat the stages a hell of a lot faster. And it's even worse in Forces, because Forces, the boost, no, man, it just makes you beat the stage in less than 2 minutes. You hardly have any time to explore, and that's basically the whole thing. Sonic Rush's story is pretty damn good, not gonna lie. You get introduced to one of my personal favorite characters, Blaze the Cat. Her backstory and her origins is that she's from a different dimension and is collecting the Soul Emeralds. And that's about it. I don't know the rest of the story. I haven't played Sonic Rush in a while, but other than that, you know, Blaze is a very important character, so she's basically similar to Sonic in every way. You know, she also boosts and everything, and in Rush Adventure, they really give her more backstory, so it's really cool. Rush is a fun, you know, game. The only negative I do have about Sonic Rush is they do have cheap padding. You know, like, you know, it has amazing levels like, you know, Ocean, you know, like Water Palace, you know, Leaf Storm, but it unfortunately has annoying atrocity levels like, you know, like altitude limit. Fuck, I hate that stage. It's got awesome music, like it's got kick-ass music, it really does. It's a really underrated soundtrack, you should go listen to it. But the one thing, now what I mean cheap padding is, when you get to the desert level, I think it's called Mirage something, and when you get to that area where you have gates closing unless you take out all the enemies to proceed, that's what I mean, that's cheap padding right there. Like, why is that there? You know, isn't the whole point of a Sonic game is to gotta go fast? Like, it's kind of unnecessary. It's you know, it's combat while you're going fast. Like, why are we doing this? You know, Sonic Unleashed didn't pull this crap off. Well, technically it did. You know, that's why you had the Werehog to compensate. But but we'll get to that when we get to Unleash's ranking. But overall, Sonic Rush is a pretty damn good DS game. Not gonna lie. And to this day, you know, we're still waiting for Blaze the Cat to make her return into a mainline 3D game. She really didn't get a fair chance because in Sonic 06, they just wrote her off like, you know, she was nothing, and it still pisses me off. That's why I have 06 ranked, you know, as the worst game ever, because it didn't give, you know, newcomer, you know, players like Silver enough story. It didn't give Blaze, you know, why is she here? Her and Sonic never had an interaction. You know, the whole story of Sonic 06 is fucking non-canon. So let's just move on. Alright, number 9 is Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. Ah yes, the sequel to the original Sonic Riders. Yeah, Zero Gravity is a damn good game for the Nintendo Wii and other consoles. This game, yeah, it's a fun sequel. I mean, I have no idea, you know, I hardly even played the Riders games. You know, I understand it introduced, you know, speed, flight, and power mechanics into the game, and each character has a unique ability. That's all I could pretty much sum up. You know, other than that, I don't know that much about the game, so let's just move on. It's a pretty good racing game, but not as fun as Team Sonic Racing or All-Stars Racing Transformed. Alright, number 8, Sonic Colors. Okay, Sonic Colors. Alright, the music is fantastic, the graphics are amazing, you know, and this came out for the Nintendo Wii. You know, and they introduced new power-ups in the form of Wisps. Yes, Wisps have become a staple in the franchise, even to this day. You know, they give you fun abilities here and there. The gameplay is really solid, actually. Gameplay solid, you know, the story is really good. You know, I honestly think Sonic Colors has one of the best stories in the franchise. You know, it's lighthearted, you know, for a Sonic game, but it could get, you know, it could get serious when it wants to get serious. You know, when you get to that one cutscene where Eggman, you know, is, you know, talking to Orbot and Cubot, you know, you get, you know, funny moments, but when you get to a serious cutscene where what the purpose of the Wisps are, that's where, you know, like, you know, that's where you get, you know, really emotional, like, oh, okay, like, Eggman's using this for a dark purpose. And I honestly think the biggest issue with Sonic Colors is it's too short. I honestly think Sonic Colors should have had at least maybe 1 or 2 more areas. You know, like, maybe Terminal Velocity should have been another full-fledged area. You know, maybe 4 or 5 segments before you get to Eggman himself. The music is really fantastic for Sonic Colors, especially the final boss fight. Oh my god, the final boss themes. Both versions are fucking amazing. Like, seriously, like, Otani, you spoiled us too much. You really do. So, yeah, so Sonic Colors, you know, it's a fun game I like to go back and play, you know. It's easy to beat. You know, it's easy to beat, it's short, you know, it's a short game, you know, and you also get Super Sonic. Yes, Sonic Colors is the game that brought Super Sonic back, you know, in a 3D game. You do have to collect all the Red Star rings, you know, some of them could be difficult here and there, but we have YouTube guides, so it's not as bad as it was back then, where you literally had to hunt for those fucking things. But let's move on. Number 7, Sonic Riders. Yes, Sonic Riders. Yes, the Sonic Riders series, by the way, is different from, you know, the racing series. It's a racing game, but it uses different mechanics. It's fun, and it has a unique story. It introduces new characters, the Babylon Rogues, Jet, Wave, and Albatross. Or Storm. Oh, my bad. It's just oh, I hate that. I hate Storm in Speed Battle. Seriously, that Storm ability, I fucking hate that ability. But that's besides the point. Yeah, apparently it has a story mode where Eggman is hosting like a Grand Prix, I guess, and everybody has to enter a Chaos Emerald. again, where the fuck do people get the Chaos Emeralds? Logic gaps, whatever. The gameplay is really exciting and fun. You know, I actually have Sonic Riders, the original GameCube version. I actually got it for free when I bought, you know, Mario Sunshine and Sonic Heroes. It was a three game bundle for almost $50. Well, not 50, it was $40. And I hold no regrets. Well, maybe 2 out of 3 games, but that's besides the point. Yeah, man, it's a fun game, and the graphics really hold up pretty good, actually. When you look at the graphics compared to 06's graphics, I understand, you know, it may have been underpowered, but damn, they tried, damn it. You know, like, for GameCube graphics, these look pretty solid. You know, play this game, play it on Dolphin Emulator, and get it all the way to 4K or 1080p. You won't hold no regrets. Alright, next one is Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. Oh yeah. Yeah, this game is really, really fun. You know, this is where it takes the original and it adds more to it. You know, because now your vehicles transform in and out. So we're basically taking ideas basically from Mario Kart, but we're not going to discuss that here and there. This game's really excited. You know, that's all you have to know. You know, it's almost similar to the original, only you have different, you have more characters added in. And that's about it. You know, it's not much to talk about. It's a racing game, you know. It's really not that much to explain. All you have to know is it's a fun game. Go play and enjoy. Moving on. Alright, number 5 is Sonic Generations. Okay, now Generations to me, you know, Generations is it's a fun game, okay? And I'm gonna be saying that, oh, you're gonna say it's a fun game because we're getting to the top 5. Well, hear me out. Generations is a compilation game of all the original stages. That's about it. It's basically a homage of all of modern and classic Sonic's, you know, stages into one. The stages could have been picked a little bit differently. Like, what the fuck? We had like 4 city stages? What the fuck, people? I heard that the stages were selected by fan voting. Like, seriously, you wanted Crisis City? What the hell? You wanted Crisis City? You wanted, you know, Rooftop Run? Why? I honestly think the Generations versions of those levels are even worse than their originals. Well, maybe not Crisis City. I do love the music in that one, but Rooftop Run is actually worse on Generations than it is in the original. It's not even as fun because it's 2D. Well, it's 2D and 3D, but a lot of the level aesthetics just don't feel as fun. Like, why didn't you pick Jungle Joyride? Like, seriously. But that's besides the point. Sonic Generations really doesn't have a story. It's just Sonic's birthday. His friends get kidnapped. Just beat the stages. You unlock every character. Collect all the Chaos Emeralds. They're just rehashed boss fights you had in older games like, you know, Perfect Chaos, Shadow, you know, Silver, etc. Egg Dragoon. You know, they're you know, the boss fights are fun and all. I'm not gonna lie, but you know, other than that, the final boss, the Time Eater, oh, it's an atrocity of a boss fight. It's one of the worst boss fights Sega's ever developed. Like, seriously, it's not fun. You know, it's terrible. Like, it was poorly executed. You know, but Generations, you know, if you're playing the PC version, you do have a lot of mods to choose and tinker with the game. It also has a lot of updates. Like, you have, you know, different stages added to the game in the Generation style. So, you know, a lot of modders have a lot of fun with this game, and it gives the game a lot of life. So, if you're gonna play Generations, you know, play the PC version, you know, mod it and all that, have fun. You can play as, you know, any character you want, use all the cool custom mods, use cool, you know, play different stages, you know, have a blast. Alright, number 4, Sonic and the Secret Rings. Okay, before I go off, Sonic and the Secret Rings. To me, Sonic and the Secret Rings is by far the 2nd or 3rd worst Sonic game of all time. Why the fuck is Sonic and the Secret Rings ranked 4th? Because of the music? The graphics? Why? You do realize that Sonic and the Secret Rings has one of the most difficult gameplay styles of any game, period. The only way you can play Sonic and the Secret Rings is by using the Wiimote. And you have to use the Wiimote, you know, and that's it. You can't use a nunchuck. Not that I'm aware of at this point, you know, probably not. You have to use the Wiimote, and the way that Sonic moves is Sonic can't even stop on a dime unless you hit a wall or something. It's basically going by Sonic Dash logic, where you just keep going forward and forward, and all you can do is jump, homing attack, and use Sonic's abilities like Speed Break or whatever the abilities are. The story's actually pretty good for a spin-off game. You know, obviously Eraser Jin is obviously the main antagonist here, and Sonic's under a curse unless he gets the 7 World Rings, or whatever the hell it's called. It's a meme in its own outright. You know, obviously the story's okay here, but the gameplay is just so fucking difficult. Like, it's not even fun. You know, it's just like using the Wiimote, kind of like kind of like Sonic Dash style, where you really can't stop on a dime and Sonic has no control. I hate that shit. I hate playing a video game where my character has no control. You know, I can't stop naturally, you know, I can't do this, I can't do that, that's an issue. You know, it's kind of the problem I gave, you know, it's a problem. The music is fantastic, don't get me wrong, but music doesn't mean anything. If the gameplay is not fun, or it's broken, or has clunky controllers, it's gonna ruin the overall experience. You know, and of course the final boss fight. I do love that cutscene where Sonic's voice changes. So basically, it gave us the Hedgehog voice 1 year before it came out. So that's pretty dope. But other than that, Sonic and the Secret Rings is a terrible game. It really is. I honestly rank it, you know, as one of my top 3 worst of all time. I only played it once. I was completely turned off, and I never touched it ever again. So let's move on. Alright, number 3, Sonic Mania. Alright, so I'm not surprised here. Sonic Mania was gonna make this high on the list. You know, especially with the Plus edition of Mighty and Ray. That's great and all. You know, Sonic Mania added more stages. You know, they're fun, you know, 2D stages with new level design, some new gimmicks here and there. That's cool and all. You know, Sonic Mania, you know, it's a real fun game, and this is of course a fan-made game. You know, not letting it go, Sonic Team. You know, this is a fan-made game, along with Christian Whitehead. You know, Sonic Mania is too good to be associated with modern Sonic games. Honestly, that's another reason why I had a problem with classic Sonic being in Forces. Because this is beneath classic Sonic. Like, keep classic Sonic in its own genre and keep modern Sonic in his. Alright? There's no need for classic Sonic to be associated with modern games. I hate that shit. Like, seriously. Keep classic in its own area. You know, because Sonic Mania is a fantastic game, and the next, you know, in Sonic Mania 2, you know, should have his, you know, classic Sonic should have his own legacy with the Mania series. I don't associate Sonic Mania with the other classic games. That's not really fair, because then you would say, oh, Mania is better than Sonic 2 or CD. No, it's not really fair, because Mania has, you know, enhanced graphics, it's got better gameplay mechanics, and it has more storage to add more content. So I can't really, you know, you really can't make that fair comparison, because you're gonna say, oh yeah, because it's using 2017 mechanics as opposed to 1992 mechanics. So that's why. But Sonic Mania is a really fantastic fan-made game. You know, it's really fun, it's really cheap to get, and there's plenty to do, so much replayability. So yeah, so not much more to say. And number 2 is Sonic Unleashed. Okay. Now, Sonic Unleashed, you know, right off the bat, the opening for Sonic Unleashed, that's the best opening of any Sonic game, period. Probably one of the best openings in any video game franchise, period, ever. I'm not lying about that. Like, when you look at that Sonic opening, and let's be perfectly honest, anybody who has a Sonic YouTube channel, let's be honest, almost 90% of you have that opening in some shape, in some way, shape, or form in your intro, no matter what. Okay, I'm one of them. But I do alterations to it, because it's a badass intro. Like, seriously, and you look at that intro and those beautiful graphics. These graphics were on the Xbox 360, and they still hold up beautiful in 2019. Like, where did Sega drop the ball after that? Like, why didn't we get graphics like that ever again in any modern Sonic game? When you look at Forces, its graphics are nothing compared to this. The models are amazing, you know. The gameplay style, I'll get to that in a minute. But overall, you know, Sonic's model, obviously the Unleashed model, is probably the best model to date. It's currently his current model when you think about it. Yeah, that's another thing I forgot to talk about. Sonic's 06 model. It's the worst in the franchise. Sonic just looks unnatural. He's too tall. He's too skinny. His legs and his limbs, they don't look natural. Where the Unleashed model is currently the current model he has right now, and it's perfect. Yeah, so the gameplay style, you know, you have the boost mechanic in a mainline 3D Sonic game. It's fun and all, you know, but like I said, Sonic Unleashed does have flaws. Number 1, the controllers. I hate the fact that all the buttons are mapped to one button. The homing attack and the boost and the boost are all aligned to the same button. SEGA, seriously, this shit's gotta stop. You know, thankfully they got their act together in the next game, but I hate the fact that when I'm in mid-air, I go for the homing attack, instead I boost, and then I fall to my death. Would it have killed you to have, you know, to make the X button or the jump button, double tap it twice to be the homing attack? How hard is that? Seriously. Other than that, that's the only flaw when it comes to the gameplay of the daytime stages. You know, the Werehog, of course, gets a lot of criticism because it's slow-paced. You know, the Werehog's too slow, and of course, there's too much combat. And the combat itself is not even that exciting for the most part, because they went with the God of War mechanic instead of going with the Devil May Cry mechanic, which a lot of people would have preferred, because at least it would have been more exciting and fun. You know, and the Werehog stages, they do have one infamous moment, and that's the damn Werehog theme plays every time you fight enemies. You know, that's a problem. Like, what the fuck? I just want to listen to the beautiful music at night, the Werehog stages. Because the Sonic Unleashed soundtrack, you know, is the best soundtrack in any Sonic franchise. Yes, even Sonic 06, like, those two are neck and neck. Because the reason why I say that is because almost the entire soundtrack is orchestral. And when you think about it, the music is just fantastic. Like, my personal favorite music from Unleashed is Jungle Joyride Daytime, Jungle Joyride Night for the Werehog, you know, Shamar Nighttime for the Werehog. I just love the jazz music when you listen to that stage at night. And of course, Rooftop Run Daytime. Oh, fuck it. I love the entire soundtrack. Seriously, like, I have the entire OST on my phone. Like, seriously, I just love listening to the music. It's just so damn good. The story itself, first of all, the Chaos Emeralds, this is the last time that the Chaos Emeralds were even implemented in a Sonic game, because they were never brought back, you know, after this. You know, like, I mean, they exist, but they're not in the main plot, because I think they realized that, you know what, we gotta stop doing this, because people are just gonna catch on that using the Chaos Emeralds for these kind of purposes is fucking stupid. You know, but the Chaos Emeralds, you know, when added to this game's story, it makes perfect sense. You know, and it gives you a mission objective of why do you gotta go to these different areas to bring power back to the Chaos Emeralds and get the planet back in peace before Dark Gaia gets fully formed. And this game, you know, it holds nothing back. Like, you know, it's a game that's not gonna hold your hand. I'm telling you that right now, because one of the infamous parts about Sonic Unleashed are the QuickTime events. Yes, the QuickTime events, I really do not like them, more in the daytime stages. Because when I'm going fast and I'm boosting, and then I run into a dash panel or whatever, and then I see, you know, I have to hit a QTE, and I hate that shit. And some of them are so cheap, where if you don't even do the QuickTime event correctly, you're gonna fall to your death. I hate that crap. Especially in Eggman Land. Oh my god, the QuickTime events there are so strict, it's not even fucking funny. But other than that, you know, the gameplay is okay, you know, the voice acting is great, you know, Jason Griffin, that's probably his best work, alongside Sonic and the Black Knight. You know, I love the story in Unleash. The music is great, the graphics still are beautiful. You know, there's really no flaw. I mean, there are flaws here and there, but this game is damn near good. You know, it's just that, oh, and the medal, and collecting the moon and sun medals, that's another negative I have too. The Wii version of that game does a better job of that, or the HD version does a terrible job, because you have to get a certain amount of medals to proceed through other stages, and for regular Sonic, you know, getting the medals are so difficult because you're going too fast. So you have to, you know, explore, but the problem is you're going too fast. Where the Werehog, it's more easy because you're going slower and they're easy to see the medals. Other than that, that's about the only nitpicks I have. So let's move on to number 1, and you all know which one it is. And the number 1 ranked game is Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Yeah, let's be honest, you know, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is basically the best Sonic game of all time. Now, to me personally, it's not, okay? That's just me, okay? But how do I rank it? It's a really damn good game. Sonic 3 and Knuckles has so much content, you know, there's plenty to do. You have 3 playable characters, and Knuckles makes his debut. You know, you have Hypersonic making his debut in this game, and sadly they never brought him back because I don't know why. I mean, Hypersonic was so dope and badass, but I guess Sega has their reasons. The level design is pretty damn good. You have classic levels like Ice Cap Zone, Lava Reef, you know, Carnival Night Zone, that fucking infamous barrel. Again, how could people say this game is a 10 out of 10 if you have that infamous barrel? But whatever, you know, to me, I rate it, you know, I do rate it a 10 out of 10. I'm just saying, like, why was the infamous, you know, my first time playing the game, I got caught in that infamous barrel, and I didn't know how to get out of there. So, I actually had to ask a friend for that. Like, yeah, thanks, Sega, I shouldn't have put that fucking barrel to begin with. What the hell? The music is fantastic, like, you know, music is great and all, the gameplay style is fun. You know, and Sonic's ability, the Insta-Shield, it's pretty damn good. It's really overpowered. You know, and oh, speaking of shields, the Elemental Shields make their debut in this game. The Fire Shield, the Electric Shield, and the Bubble Shield. The Fire Shield is really fun, you know, it protects you from fire, and you can do a dash attack. It's really cool. The Lightning Shield basically makes you attract rings, and it gives you a double jump, which is really overpowered. And if you get Supersonic and get a Lightning Shield, you're just gonna be collecting rings like nothing. Like, have fun. And the Bubble Shield, you know, it lets you bounce really high, and it protects you from drowning if you're in an underwater stage, which would later be the inspiration to create the Bounce Bracelet for Adventure 2, which is one of Sonic's best abilities, the Bounce Bracelet. And the story is really damn good, actually, when you think about it. Knuckles is basically the main is an antagonist alongside with Eggman for pretty much a majority of the game, until you realize that Eggman betrayed him, and then Knuckles learned his lesson. And then in Adventure 2, you saw why he destroyed the Master Emerald, because he learned from his ways. And the stages are just so much fun. I understand that Sonic 3 and Knuckles, in order to play the whole, there is a ROM hack called Sonic 3 Complete, and I highly recommend you play that game. That's the best way to play Sonic 3 in its entirety, because that ROM hack lets you customize the gameplay. You can play Sonic 3 the original way, where certain levels were in a different order. Like after Carnival Night Zone, normally you would go to Ice Cap, but you could also go to Flying Fortress early in the game, because in the original beta, Flying Fortress came after Carnival Night Zone, and the stage is at night. But then again, you're gonna make things difficult for yourself by not having Flying Fortress in the second half of the game to get the Master Emerald piece, the Master Emerald pieces for Hypersonic. So you do have to compensate on that. And of course, it also includes the Big Arm boss fight. Once you get done with Launch Base Zone, and after you defeat Big Arm, then you go straight to Mushroom Hill Zone. And then of course, you could proceed to collect the other Master Emerald pieces, or whatever the hell they're called, and just have fun that way. You know, like Sonic 3 and Knuckles really has no flaws. Like, it's a pretty damn good game. You know, Death Egg Zone, great music. You know, unique challenges, and of course Doomsday Zone. You know, classic Supersonic against, you know, Eggman. It's just so much fun. Like, this game really has no faults. Like, if I highly would recommend you please play Sonic 3 the Complete ROM hack by one Tittles, I believe. I'll leave a link in the description to that ROM hack. It's so much fun to play. You could customize your experience any way you want. It also has a casual mode on, so like if you're playing for your first time, casual mode means like if you get hit, you don't lose rings or anything. So there are many ways you could play the game. You know, like you could just mix and match whatever you want. So I highly recommend, if you're gonna play Sonic 3 and Knuckles, you play the Sonic 3 Complete ROM hack. That's the best way to play the game, and it's highly recommended by everybody at Sonic Retro. And that's about it. That's all 30 games. Well, that's all the games, and yeah, those are my opinions on this article. I hope you all enjoyed this. Like, this was a really long ass video. Like, I had no idea it was gonna go almost an hour, but this isn't even my personal top list or anything like that. I will do top 5 lists later down the road. But right now, you know, I had to say something because this article kind of upset me on certain Sonic games being ranked. Especially, you know, especially the fact that Sonic Adventure 1 was ranked almost the 3rd worst. Like, what the fuck? But I'm getting a little tired right now, so yeah, so leave your comments, and let's have fun discussing about this. Alright, we gotta go. Hope you all enjoy this. Peace!